happy to be here. I'm very happy to be able to speak to you guys about something I really care about, and I hope you guys also get value out of it the way I've been able to get myself over the years. So the first speaker was talking about how far I've come at StarkNet Africa, and it's been long, right, since 2021, I think, and it's actually beautiful to see that after like 2 years, 3 years, we've been able to gather here and like just come together as a community, because the community wasn't as big as this when it started, and I'm glad we are this big right now. So in the next 20 minutes, I'll be sharing with you something I really care about, which is becoming a core engineer. And the disclaimer is that this is not an engineering talk. So if you're not an engineer here and you're wondering, okay, StarkNet core engineer, don't worry. It is not about engineering. I'm not going to talk about engineering in quotes, right? All right. So this is a quick intro about me. I'm a software engineer. I'm part of the team at StarkNet Africa, and and also I'm currently focused on these computational complexity theory, which is just a big word for like a parent field of like zero knowledge proofs, PCP. Who knows what PCP means here? All right, PCP means probabilistic checkable proofs, right? And it sounds big and it sounds like I know what I'm saying, but yeah, I don't know shit. So mathematics and cryptography is like just things I'm focused on now. And before now, the past 1 year, I've done things with Ethereum Protocol Fellowship, Lambda Consensus Client, Cairo VM in Zig, and Beros. So these are like projects that are the core. Working with Rust, working with things at the low level, and it's really interesting stuff. So these are just things we'll talk about today. So who is a blockchain core engineer? Why I care about it and why you should care. Why we have less core engineers around this part of the world, and how you can become one, right? So we'll talk about it in two lights, right? So there's the literal meaning of being a blockchain engineer. What does it mean to be a blockchain engineer? And there's the actual meaning, which is what I'm talking about today. That's why I said that this talk is not about like engineering. This talk is about a mindset, right? How do you think like a core engineer? How do you see things from the perspective of a core engineer? How do you go about your activities, right? So this is not about engineering. This is about skill as young Africans in this particular part of the world, right? So yeah, this is the literal meaning, right? Anything you do aside smart contract development. So you say consensus client building, execution client building, hardware wallet. So those things are just under the hood, right? Everything apart from smart contract, which is that you need to go deeper, clients and all those kind of things. But to me, the meaning of being a core engineer is actually more than just all this, right? So this is what it means to me, right? Because it takes a special kind of mindset to be able to focus on things at the core. First of all, it's unnecessarily hard. Like, it's just hard and you don't know why it's hard. It's more like, why do I have to do consensus clients when I can just do smart contract development and still earn well in quotes, right? So it's actually something to think about. So the way I see it is that a core engineer is someone that has the drive to go deeper, right? And someone that has the drive to do hard things. Now you see, this is not about engineering. If you're a marketer, right, what are those things that every other marketer is not doing, but because it's hard and you just choose to do it, right? Is it outreach? Is it like email marketing, right? What are those things that nobody wants to do that you just choose to do? Because if you do things at the core, right, there's a very high probability that you're going to be highly sought after rather than people that are doing, because in every field you go to, there are always things that are hard to do. And everybody's running away from it, whether they like it or not. They are like, okay, let's just choose the easy ones, right? And there's always the easier part, right? So this is like a mindset, right? And the reason why this thing is important to us is because we're Africans, right? And if you want to be able to compete on a global scale, you need to think like, because you are here in Nigeria, you are competing with somebody somewhere else in the world, in Europe, and the person, systemically, there are some things different about two of you, but then you can't just be playing in the normal field to expect to be able to compete with that person, because the person is already kind of more advantaged than you in some ways, right? So how do you make sure that you build the mindset, right, and you build the mindset to be able to compete on a global scale? And this is what this talk is about. It's not about engineering, but then you actually see it, right? So like I said, you can, okay, so before I talk about this, right, so you would easily become a core engineer. You easily become a core engineer when you already have that kind of mindset. You cannot just, like, if actually, okay, how many of us want to learn how consensus clients work under the hood, right? How many of us want to actually, how many engineers want to understand how it works? Okay, let me leave that one. How many of us want to understand how rocket science works? How many of us want to understand how it works, right? Just show of hand, right? Exactly. So everybody wants to learn how rocket science works, but if they put you in a class of how rocket science works, you actually leave before the first day because it's hard, right? But then you don't become a core engineer because you want to become a core engineer. You already have a mindset of having this high curiosity and having this mindset of going deep. Then somehow, after a while, you find yourself that you're already doing these hard things. You do not even decide to do consensus clients. You're just like, okay, how does this thing work? You're experimenting, you're testing things out, and all of a sudden you are doing everything that you want to do without even deciding that you want to do it, right? So why I care about being a core engineer around this part of the world, right? So I believe that for a technology that's changed our lives so much, it's only fair that we are part of people building it, right? So you actually see all these statistics. We have 1 million users in Africa. We have these. I'm tired of those statistics. When I hear them now, I'm like, okay, it's fine. Like something is changing your life so much, but you are not part of people building it. It's more like someone is helping you to explain your problem and understand your problem, helping you to solve it. When you have the same skill set to be able to solve your problem by yourself, right? So what am I saying in essence? We need more people to be able to work at the core because these technologies are changing our lives so much. So if you have ever used Western Union before, you understand what I'm saying. Today, you can just decide to send 1,000 USDC, 2,000 USDC, and it seems like it's nothing. Go and queue on, like, just go and stand in the queue in the bank and try to send $100 from your account to somebody outside, and you understand how blockchain has actually changed our life. Western Union, I don't know, there are many alternatives. Those things are stressful. Like, they are very stressful. But today, you can send USDT, and it seems like the normal. It's not a normal thing, right? So, for a technology that changed our life so much, it's only fair that you strive to be part of the people building it. And we'll still talk about the benefits because it's not just about things that we cannot see, which is the whole impact and stuff. It's about the actual benefit of being a core engineer. Like I said at the beginning, in every field you go to, there are things that most people don't like doing. And if you decide to do those things, there's a 99% chance that you probably earn more than the other people, whether you know it or not. But it's just that you need to get there first, right? So, yeah, and why you should care. So I said this thing at the beginning. There are gems hidden in doing hard things, right? So if you decide to do hard things today, like, it might not be easy, right? It might not be palatable, but if you decide to do hard things today, there's a high probability that you're going to find things that you've never found. Also, in the past 1 year, right, I started with Ethereum Protocol Fellowship, Lambda class consensus clients. I did open source work with Cairo VM and stuff like that. And you just find out that the deeper you go, the more you find out that there are some things that you wouldn't have found out, even as an engineer, right? Even money-wise, because you will not believe how much some of these people are getting paid. But you will never know because you probably not find them because they are few. And in fact, some of them, their job roles are not out there because the few they have, like, they actually reach out to them personally because if you put your job board out there, there are only people that will apply. Even when people apply, you probably have to see a lot of people out because it's more like, I'm looking for a cryptography engineer that knows how a lot of ZK protocols work, and nobody's applying. Or even people applying are just people that they're like, please, because of motivational speaker say you should apply for a job you are not qualified for. You just put the link, just register, and before you know, they are like, because these things are hard, right? But I can tell you for free that this gem, there are gems sitting in doing hard things, right? So I didn't say this at the beginning of the talk, but one of my goals for this talk today is that I want one person or two people or just a few people to make this conviction in themselves. I'd be like, I want to do hard things, right? There are many benefits, right? But we'll still talk about them. So why we have less core engineers? This thing this first one now, if you between now and like last week, how many of you have queued in a fuel station to buy fuel? Like, okay, so without even saying much, you already understand the first thing. I don't need to explain it to you. It's just different living in this part of the world, right? So fundamentally, so let me just give you this example. Most of us in Nigeria here learn how to code when we already, like, let's say you're already finishing school, or maybe you hear that there's money in it, you now start learning how to code. But somebody somewhere in the world is learning how to code when they are 7 and they are playing with laptops, they are building compilers when they are 14, and you are here, you're in your 20s, you're learning how to do HTML and CSS. It's not this, it's a different experience, right? So I don't need to start explaining to you what it means. So you need to understand where you are and start from where you are. You cannot be here and be acting like somebody there. That's why even in terms of hard work, you need to see things differently, right? If you are competing with someone that fundamentally persons get 24-hour electricity, you are standing in queue to buy fuel, but for some reason you are doing, I don't know, you are settling for less and thinking that somehow you take that person's job. It's close to impossible, because like this is reality. This is why it's not motivation. It's reality. It happen. You understand? So why do people do it? Like why less people doing core engineering? Because they are lower incentive in the short term, right? Like if you decide that you want to become a core engineer today, it might take you a long time before you actually get a job as a core engineer, because the things you need to learn are a lot, right? So I understand, right? But then the value is actually worth it. And most of us are young, right? So most of us don't understand the value of being young until we are no longer young, and it's now like, oh, I wish I was like. You don't have the kind of responsibility you have when, like, 5 years from now or even 10 years from now, right? Most of us are in school, right? Most of us are just finished school. Most of us are trying to see what we use our lives to do. You shouldn't just settle for something comfortable immediately because of you are looking for money. Be able to take things long term, right? So another thing is that is complex, right? It requires a lot of fundamentals. Like, if you want to learn, okay, exactly this. The fourth one and the fifth one are actually almost the same, right? Because it requires a lot of fundamentals. One thing I found out about consensus clients, for instance, is that they're actually chaotic. Meaning that when you want to learn this one, you find out that you need this one. When you want to learn this one, you find out that you need this one. You just find out that you need a lot of things, and you're like, oh, I can actually do it. But when you start looking at it from a different standpoint, which is that, okay, I need to learn cryptography, I'll start with taking classes on number theory without thinking about cryptography, just taking it for what it is. And I'll take a class on abstract algebra. Okay. Then when I finish that, I'll take a class on polynomials. And before you know it, when you see cryptography, I'm like, okay, I learned number theory, I learned polynomial, I learned that. All of a sudden it starts to make sense. But when you look at it from the top, you don't even know, you don't even remember what you were taught about number theory or abstract algebra. You just want to go and know how Stark works. You're probably going to bite yourself because it's actually hard, right? So this is why most people learn it because there are a lot of things you don't know about it, right? So you need to be able to be patient to start from where you are. Take little classes. Go to Khan Academy and take a very short course on number theory, abstract algebra, polynomials. Take your time. There's like, even if you decide to take 2 years to learn these things, after 2 years it's still hard because most people will not stick to it. So if you feel like maybe there's a job you are trying to get and if you decide to take 2 years of your life to focus on hard things, after 2 years it will still be hard. Have you ever wondered whether the people building OpenAI actually bothered about AI taking their job? Do you ever believe? Because these guys are building this AGI or OpenAI and what it's called. They are not bothered about AI taking their job because they know that what they know, before AI know it and come and take their job, 20 years, 30 years, that's not, because you are doing hard things. Nobody's like, you are in your own lane. Nobody's dragging it with you. You know, that's why this concept of hard things, right, is very, very important to me. And that's why I spend a lot of time thinking about it. And I'm actually happy and privileged to be able to talk about it here. So these are some of the tips, right, to build the mindset of a core engineer. I've actually touched some of all these things, right? Curiosity and experimentation. I said something at the beginning that you're here in your 20s, or in fact, if you actually learned how to code when you were younger, you're actually a very small percent, because most people here, it's either you learned it when you just finished school, or you learned it because of some of your classmates were learning it. But most people learned it in their 20s, right? But someone is somewhere in the world experimenting. He has built compilers. He has assembled a circuit, learn how logic gates work, learn how AND work, how NOT works. And then after doing that thing in his playtime, when you actually see things the way kids see things, right? They are experimenting, they are playing. In their playtime, they are built compiler. In your own job, they are telling you to do one thing, you're like, it's hard. But when they are playing, that's why curiosity and experimentation, you see this first stage now, money is not leading them. They're just experimenting, they're just exploring. And before you know, they are doing everything you wish you could know how to do, but then they have done it some years ago. So you cannot now say, like, you cannot have that back, because we actually build differently, right? But what you can do is that you can actually start seeing things differently, in the sense that do code for code, not for, don't wait until they are saying that your boss is saying you should do something. Do it because of it's fun, right? Write code for the code itself, or like experiment for the, like, as a marketer, for instance, right? Try out something, not because of they say you should try, but because of you want to see how it works. Before you know, you start exploring things that most people don't know, or most people are not even willing to find out about, right? Which is why curiosity and experimentation is actually important. And there's this popular quote that I will say, money is not everything, right? And when people say it, you think that they are hypocrites. Actually, I pray and I believe that I want, like, everybody to have enough money to be able to make those statements without feeling somehow. But honestly, when they say money is not everything, when you get to a particular extent in your life, you understand that now you have the freedom to experiment. And you now wish that you were experimenting sooner, because most people that are very good at what they do, they experiment a lot. Because if you don't experiment, you would not find out. If you just wait for, maybe it's a task, or this is what to give me a job, it's actually very lean. But the playing field is very, very big. So you can try out a lot of things on your own, just to understand how these things work under the hood, right? So, like I said, learn to manage chaos, right? These things are chaotic. Learn how to structure your mind in a way that you know that what you need to do is to pick out these things individually and understand them step by step. You should not just go into a code base you've never seen before and expect that you pick it up bit by bit and try to understand them differently, right? And then believing in yourself. This is cliche, but one thing I want you to understand is that most of the things that will change your life are not new things. Like when they say, like, secrets to success, like, most of the things that will actually change your life, they are not new things. They are just things that you just hear it at a different point in your life and you just hit. Maybe they'll tell you work hard. You have been hearing work hard all your life, but somehow in your 20s, you now understand work hard is actually work hard. Maybe when you were small, they're saying work hard, you think it's joke. But when start to knock you, like, you understand that work hard is actually work hard, and you now start working hard. So believe in yourself, because, like, if you just go to a repository and just zero your mind that you cannot do this, you will not do it. It's not rocket. You will not do it. You understand? So always understand that you need to believe you can do something first of all. Like, some months ago, when I actually see some repositories, I just zero my mind. I cannot work on this thing. But now I just go and comment. I'm like, okay, I can take this PR. Sorry, I can work on this issue. And they might assign it to them. If they assign it to you, most of the times you have enough time to figure it out, right? Nobody's telling you that you should give them in 2 weeks. It's like open source. Like, if you're wasting time, they'll tell you. But most of the time, they'll give you enough time. So far, you are giving them updates. Maybe start with creating a draft PR, and, like, okay, they are seeing that, okay, this guy is making some updates. If his line change, you change today, you push it. And they say, okay, this person is making change. You're learning. Before you know, you actually figure it out. But when you come to the repository and believe that, this thing is hard, most of the times, you just see the name. You just see that it is a cryptographic primitive, blah, blah, blah. You just, no. But you can actually figure it out, right? Giving yourself enough grace, enough time, you can figure it out, right? And then find like mind. This is actually very, very important, right? So there are a couple of people in the ecosystem on the same path like you, right? They probably want to get good in marketing. They want to get good in cryptography. They want to get good in how StarkNet works. Look for them, right? So currently, I didn't say this at the beginning, but I'm currently on a learning sabbatical, which is that I'm just taking a break, right? And what I do is that I have like 2 other friends. We just wake up in the morning, join a call, and we just work together throughout the day. I know it takes some kind of privilege to be able to do that, but there are other ways to do it, right? You don't have to stay from morning to night to work with someone. You can do it in different ways, but just find people like you that are doing what you're doing, right? It's very, very important.
So work fucking hard and be patient. Honestly, most of the people that you see, most of the people you see are not geniuses. They are not prodigies. They were not born different, right? They have just worked fucking hard and they've probably done it for a long time, right? You probably see this person and believe that okay, this person is so smart. No, they are not. Most people are normal people. In fact, the probability you're going to meet someone that is a prodigy in your lifetime is very slim. Most people you look up to are just people that work fucking hard and they've done it for a long time. Like the probability you're going to see somebody that okay, they say that because of something in his body is no, like most people are normal people that have worked fucking hard and they have done it for a long time. Like you just somebody that's up to for 10 years and you're telling yourself that this person, you have to do it for a reasonable amount of time. So you don't just expect that you just so these things are very, very important. You are seeing here are not new. But like I said, most of the things that you change your life are not secrets. They are not, I don't think they are secret success. Even if you hear things, a quote that will change your life, it's still a variation of something you've already heard. You just said that how do you be able to benefit from something that is very early. Don't look at Web3 as just this thing that you just eat and go like maybe in like 20 years, you'll be telling people that, oh, I actually knew when Web3 started, but I just made some money and I just like, no, like be there, right? And on StarkNet, there are many opportunities like this, right? To actually benefit from how early you are, right? So active developer support, right? Like there are groups on StarkNet that will help you like speed up your process, even as an engineer, right? Even funding, like Paul talked about how if you have a project, if you have a product that you want to launch on StarkNet, there are programs like that will help you get grants, right? And there are also people here that have actually gotten grants to build on StarkNet, right? So it's actually very, very important. So you get to work on groundbreaking tech, right? You know, sometimes when I see people in Web2, right? Maybe I see people get jobs at Google, at Amazon. I just ask myself, okay, what if I just start trying to get this job? But then I actually work on things like ZK or things that are groundbreaking, things like FHE, things like ZK stacks. These things are not in Web2. Web2 is too stable to be working on shiny technology. But here you're working on things that like it's hard to comprehend. It's more like I'm here for the how exciting the tech is, right? You can go to Web2, yes. Okay, financial and career reward, right? So basically, like I said at the beginning, you probably make more money than somebody doing normal Web3 stuff. And it just makes sense because you're doing something harder, right? I don't even need to explain that much because the salary of somebody doing like cryptography engineering, right, is definitely higher than somebody that's just doing like smart contract development. There's smart contract development is good. Don't actually get me wrong, but just decide on where you want to go. And yeah, okay. So these are just some steps on becoming a core engineer on StarkNet. Learn Rust, like you've probably heard before. Learn Rust, learn how to write Rust. Rust is going to take over the world. Blah blah blah. Yeah. So yeah, yeah. Like I said, learn the fundamentals. Don't just jump into cryptography. Learn the basic things, right? Cryptography is number theory, abstract algebra, polynomials. These things are combined to make cryptography. Cryptography is not just a field as a standalone field. You need to learn a couple of things to learn cryptography, right? So, and also contribute to projects. You know that contributing to open source will actually change your life. Try it out, right? Try understanding the Stack protocol. This is something at the core of StarkNet, right? And just explore, right? So these are some projects at the core on StarkNet that I can contribute to, and they're actually looking for contributors. They always like the one I talked about I contributed to is the second one, Ziggy Dust, which is Cairo VM in Zig. You should actually try that and the other ones. And yeah, so this is what I just want to end with, right? Like I just said, right? It seems like I just did like motivational. People can help you in many ways throughout life, but there are two things nobody can give you: curiosity and drive. They must be self-supplied. You need to actually like do these things, right? And just know that you're not doing this thing for me. You're doing this thing for yourself, right? But you're also doing it for the future of the African Web3 ecosystem, because for one person that like, oh, you're actually seeing this guy doing it. He's probably young. Oh, okay, I can actually do it. All right. So something else I want to point out is that you can actually do smart contract development and not even do consensus client work, but you're actually going deeper. There's someone on Twitter, Michael Amadi. He does Solidity, right? But he also does HOF. How many of us know how to do gas optimization on Solidity? Like, you know how to do it well, right? But that is Solidity. You're not doing consensus client work. You're doing Solidity, but you're just so good at Solidity that you know how to go under the hood and actually change things. You actually be paid well to do that, right? Because one of the most important things about Solidity or the blockchain is that how do you save gas, right? But somehow you know how to make sure that you are saving gas. You're actually highly sought after. So I don't want to make it seem like you have to do cryptography to be like a core engineer, but you just have to have the mindset of going deeper, right? Don't just settle for like I'm doing smart contract work, I'm building ERC20 tokens. Those things are shallow. Go deeper. And this is, like I said, you're doing it for the future of the ecosystem so that people can come to Africa and say that, okay, there are many engineers that we can actually pay to do this work, right? Because if you want, nobody looking at your color, nobody looking at your face. If you have value, they'll pay you to give them value, right? So it's very, very important. Try to go deeper. Try to be as good as you are at this. And I actually wish you all the best. Thank you very much. And yeah.